Mr. Kavanaugh, can you hear us?
Your microphone.
I can, thank you.
There we go.
Thank you very much. Good morning and welcome to the May 14th, 2025 meeting of the Rochester Regional Board of Review. This hearing is being held via video conference call on WebEx and also at Greasetown Hall, Vince Toffany Boulevard, Community Rooms A and B in the city of Rochester, New York, 14612. The time is now 9:06 and this hearing is officially open. For the record, the members of the board to my far left are Mr. John Limbeck, to my immediate left, Mr. Rick Papage, to my right, Mr. Craig Jensen, and joining us remotely is Mr. Mark Kavanaugh, our fire official. Before we get started with the petition that we are here to discuss this morning, the state has asked us to vote on a chairperson for the next 12 months. So I currently serve as chair. I'd like to go on record as saying that I would support any one of my fellow board members serving as chair for the next 12 months, in which case I would continue to support the board as the board secretary or whatever way you choose. And I'll leave that up to the members of the board.
I'd like to nominate Jim Burton to again serve as chair for the board.
Rick Papage, I'd like to second that nomination.
Okay, I need a vote. Mr. Limbeck,
I vote aye.
Mr. Papage,
Aye.
Mr. Jensen,
Aye.
Mr. Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Well, thank you for the vote of confidence. We'll record this as a vote of aye to have Jim Burton, myself, maintain the role as chair for the next 12 months by a vote of 4-0. We will now hear the scheduled petition. Appears that the petitioner is joining us remotely. And in the room, we have the building official for the town of Orchard Park. Like to remind you both that when you speak, make sure that you give your name, title, and legal address so the court reporter can record that properly. And in the event that you're making reference to any drawings or other documents, try to use terms like north, south, east, west rather than right or left, so that anybody watching from the audience or remotely can understand the nature of the information. I don't have the.
Are we still connected?
Yes, we are. They're just looking for a piece of paper.
Okay.
Chris, would you like to go off the record until you guys are ready? Chris, Dan,
Barbara, we can go off the record for a few minutes.
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We will now hear the petition number 2024-0314. Filing date for this petition was March 26, 2025. Petitioner is Mr. Joseph Iafallo. I hope I pronounced that correctly, who is the owner of the subject property. This petition pertains to the construction of a new one-family dwelling, one story in height, 3,650 square feet in gross area, located at 6134 Bunting Road in the town of Orchard Park, County of Erie, State of New York. Petitioner is appealing the determination of the code official regarding the applicability of 19 NYCRR Part 1225, Fire Code of New York State, Section 507.2, titled Type of Water Supply, which states that a water supply shall consist of reservoirs, pressure tanks, elevated tanks, water mains, or other fixed systems capable of providing the required fire flow. There's an exception to this provision that states in rural and suburban areas in which adequate and reliable water supply systems do not exist, the fire code official is authorized to approve the use of NFPA 1142. The site where the dwelling unit is located is not served by a municipal water supply. The petitioner indicates that the local fire code official has interpreted NFPA 1142 as requiring the installation of a pond and a dry hydrant for alternate fire protection water supply. Petitioner suggests that both NFPA 1142 and the Residential Code of New York State allows for the use of a local fire tanker truck as a suitable fire protection water supply in lieu of a pond with associated dry hydrant. Mr. Iafallo?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Mr. Iafallo, please state your case.
Yes, good morning. Hi, this is also from BAML Architects as well. We worked on the project. I'm with Joseph Iafallo Sr. My name is Joseph Iafallo Jr. I work at BAML Architects, the local office in Orchard Park. And today we are presenting 6134 Bunting Road. It is located in Orchard Park, and the building total square footage is 3,650 square feet. It is a single-family residence, type 5B construction, and we are stating that while the NFPA 1142 does have flexibility in how we fight a fire in that scenario, and we would like to point out different alternatives and suggestions. And with that being said, with NFPA 1142, Chapter 7.1.5, one of the options is transportable to this site, and that is what we would like to do in this scenario. And then also in NFPA 1142 Appendix B, that also talks about transporting water to the site. And that is where we would like to try to apply for those terms under the NFPA 1142. And then in the residential code of New York State, it doesn't really, it's kind of a vague area there where it doesn't say exactly what to do in the case of if you don't have access to a fire hydrant, where that then leads you to the fire code. And then the fire code states that the authority having jurisdiction can implement NFPA 1142. And I guess just one of the questions that we have is, when doing so, is there flexibility into what we use within the NFPA 1142? And with that being said, we will open it up to you guys.
This is Jim Bammel from Bammel Architects at 6264 West Quaker Road in Orchard Park, representing the applicant here. Area and the southern part of Orchard Park that is without public utility. And there are homes in the area, rural and such. Some have ponds, some don't. We have discussed it with the local fire department, and they do have a tanker truck, and often when they have any conditions in locations like this, they will call a couple of neighboring fire departments, and they all come with their pumper trucks and fight the fire as best they can. That's kind of how the routine has been going. So I think that's basically the approach that we're looking to implement so that the lot is considered buildable.
Okay, just like to point out that the arguments that you've both made so far are really speaking to the variance, and what's before us right now is an appeal, a request for an appeal from the code official's determination. So we'll get to the process of talking about possible conditions for a variance if and when the board renders a decision on your request for an appeal first. So just
Correct.
for the record.
Yes.
Okay. Is that all you have to offer at this time, Mr. Bammel?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Holland.
David Holland, Town of Orchard Park, Code Enforcement Official. So I have to say that the statement on the reason for the appeal is, in my view, not accurate. The Town of Orchard Park is authorizing the use of NFPA 1142 as the exception allows. The Town of Orchard Park is not mandating specifically the use of a pond with a hydrant. We are allowing, as the code allows, to use 1142, but not specifically a pond with a hydrant. The question becomes in 1142, the term transportable is used more than once. And I think that's what Jim was getting to just a short time ago. But again, that's going to deal more with the variance than the appeal. So the Town of Orchard Park Hillcrest Fire Department does have a truck that carries 1,000 gallons of water. It also pumps 1,000 gallons per minute. The hydrants are approximately 1.4 miles away from the site. So quickly we would need some water for fire flow after that first initial pumper is empty. So we have to set up a portable pond. I'm not with the fire department, by the way. So we'd have to set up a portable pond and a relay to start relaying the water. The fire code talks about supplying a minimum of 1,000 gallons per minute for a 1 hour duration. So the initial truck that responds is going to be empty pretty quick. Now we have another 55 minutes to deal with. So that's my view as it goes for the appeal.
Okay, so just a quick question about that process. When you pull up a tanker truck to
Correct.
to a rural site, are you drafting out of the tank or are you dumping the tank into a reservoir or a pond and drafting out of that?
Well, again, I'm not with the fire department.
understand,
My,
but-
my understanding is the truck that arrives first has 1,000 gallons on it. At the same time, they're calling for other fire departments, probably mutual aid, probably Boston, maybe Springville, to bring, set up the portable pond and get that relay going of tanker trucks from a hydrant that's approximately 1.4 miles away. That would be the procedure according to our fire chief for the Orchard Park Fire District.
Okay.
And that's going to take some time.
Sure.
Okay.
And do you happen to know what the average response time is from that firehouse?
I don't. Another member of my department worked and was a past chief of Hillcrest. And again, their view, without pinning anything down, is look at when that alarm, when we get that call, we're going to respond with whoever we have, with whatever we have, as quickly as we can. But they don't want to give a time frame at this point. Now, I could probably pin that down a little bit more, but some of you folks are in the fire department. You could probably better estimate that time than I could.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on this matter?
Just on this matter, the question with how far is the fire department from this site?
John Limbeck, in the paperwork that we were given, it says the local fire department is located 3.2 miles from the, what? 3.2 miles from the proposed house site, approximately a 5-minute drive at the normal speed limit.
I do see that now. Thank you, John.
Do you have any other questions of the petitioner at this time or the building official, Mark?
Not for the allowance of the variance. Not at this time.
Do any other board members have any questions for the petitioner or the building official? Okay,
Jim, I've got one, Craig Jensen, I've got one question, and it may not be relevant, but there was a site plan included in the package that shows 3 other lots as future lots adjacent to this property. Is that included for any particular reason? Are those going to have the same issue down the road? And is the petitioner going to be involved with any of that additional work?
Jim Bamel speaking. The answer is that is a long-range future option for the entire 10-acre property, is to subdivide and have 3 more homes built. The issue would apply to them as well. And you'll see that one of the existing homes, or the existing home on that site plan, has a pond in its backyard now, which is actually, this is all one family doing this. So we know it's there, the pond itself. We haven't over-calculated it or determined anything yet based on where a variance could go, but we know that that is always sitting there. But I guess at this point, we're just trying to look at the land itself to say, is it developable? Can we build these homes?
Thank you.
okay, hearing no other questions, we will go off the record and deliberate this case, and we'll let you know when we're ready with a decision. Okay, at this time, we are going back on the record in petition number 2024-0314, request for an appeal of the code official's determination. At this time, I will poll the board. Mr. Kavanaugh, are you in favor of granting petitioner's request for appeal of the code official's determination?
Nay.
Mr. Limbeck,
Nay.
Mr. Jensen,
Nay.
Mr. Papich,
Nay.
and I will vote nay. So the record should indicate that the motion for appeal is hereby denied by a vote of 5-0. The board also notes that in the event of a denial, the petitioner has requested that this matter be heard as a petition for a variance to allow for the local fire department's apparatus to qualify as an alternative type of fire protection water supply, citing section 104.3 of the 2020 Fire Code of New York State, which allows for alternative materials, designs, and methods of construction where the building official shall have determined in writing that such alternative is satisfactory and complies with the intent of the provisions and requirements of the Uniform Code, and not less than the equivalent of that prescribed in the Uniform Code in quality, strength, effectiveness, fire resistance, durability, and safety. So now I will ask for a motion to hear this matter as a request for a variance. Do I have a motion?
John Limbeck, I'll make that motion.
Second?
Yeah, I'll second that. Craig Jensen.
Okay, Mr. Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Mr. Papich.
Aye.
I will vote aye, so the record should reflect that by a vote of 5-0, the board has voted in favor of hearing this matter as a request for a variance from the Uniform Code. Now, Mr. Iafalo, did I get that right? And Mr. Bammel, if you would like to go back on the record and make your arguments for a request for a variance from strict compliance with the code, you may proceed.
Jim Bammel, we appreciate the approach we're taking here, and thank you. Knowing that we have a 10-acre piece of land with residential areas around us that have been developed, some with ponds, some without. This topic has come up as to how developable it really is with what approach we can do for treating things such as fire resistance and life safety as the point of the code. Some townships, it's not an issue. Other townships, it is, based on truly probably just reading the code. As a result of Mr. Iafalo's request to do this in potentially future homes, in looking at these as being developable lots, we are looking for a variance to use the fire equipment that the towns can offer to allow for fighting the fire. I think what we would do is allow more time in the purpose of life safety to enhance the construction of the site by including a use of the fire trucks, but potentially even a fire monitoring system that would have an automatic dialer and still do the approach of smoke and fire detection throughout the home. Again, given the point that our purpose is to build time into the structure and allow for life safety for people to get out. And I think that would be an approach that we could use.
So you submitted as part of this application a site plan dated March 12th. That site plan shows the entire parcel with what appears to be Mr. Iafalo's current residence and some potential future single-family dwellings. Is that correct?
It's actually a relative brother that is the current home. The first home immediately to the west is the home that we are proposing to construct first.
Okay, I'm interested in the home that's already constructed that has a pond on it that you indicated in your drawing was owned by the petitioner. So now you're telling me it's actually owned by a relative of the petitioner. Is that correct?
Joe, I can let you address that.
Yeah, the house to the east, the existing house and existing garage is owned by my brother, John. Yeah, I'm Joseph Iafalo Sr., and our proposal is to build a house to the west of my brother John's house.
So let me ask you this. in the event that the board were to consider your application favorably, is there any reason why your brother could not grant an easement to have you install a dry hydrant from the pond that already exists on his lot that the fire department could use to draft out of to fight a fire at your proposed home?
Jim, do you want to answer that?
It is possible. We actually started with that concept about a year ago. Things kind of kept swimming around, but I guess it is a possibility the outlets would have a similar condition or some concerns that initially the concerns were raised that it's not on the property, so we had suggested the concept of an easement. And then we had actually developed a proposal to put dry hydrants in that they could draft from, even for the other developable lots in the future, with an additional one further north. The local fire department's comment was those two locations of dry hydrants would allow those homes with distance and firefighting apparatus to cover everything that we need to do. It's probably the most expensive option that would be faced with the owner to do this. So I think our first approach was the pond is there and it could be used. And at the moment we realize it's all family. We know that can change, but that's the intent. So I guess we would look for your guidance in that to say if that's what it takes to get this done, we are looking to get this home built.
Okay, so this board does not guide applicants on how to solve their problems and meet the uniform code, but I will say this. The language in your supporting argument that talks about economic burden is not something that this board can consider at all because no information was provided to the board to support an economic hardship. We have no idea what the cost of the property is, the cost of the development, the cost of the pond, the hydrant, or any other features that you are or have considered here. So economic hardship is off the table at this time, unfortunately. So what other things, when you tell us that your interest is in providing life and fire safety, what other features do you intend to propose for the board's consideration as an alternative to strict compliance with the code?
That was where we said we would add an automatic fire alarm monitor system to have the first phone call go to local fire department, let them come and address the issue.
Anything else?
If it made a difference with the local inspector to say we could add more detection devices to trigger that, that would be something we would do as well. That was our first approach for the variance.
And can one of you tell the board, please, what the width of the proposed driveway is?
If it needed to be a certain dimension, the department to use would do that, but at least 12 feet.
Thank you. Okay, those are all the questions I have. Mr. Kavanaugh, you have any questions for the applicant?
Yes, the first question I have is in your submittal, item numbers, I believe 6, summary of the variance request and basis for the appeal, which would be the variance request piece of it now. Item number 2, you talk about fire apparatus capabilities, and you identify in that or in that first paragraph saying that the pumper truck is able to meet the required fire flow. it didn't identify what the required fire flow was and how you know that the pumper trucks can meet that required flow. So do we have a basis for what the required fire flow is for that house?
No,
And-
I'm sorry if it was represented that way. We were going to use the capacity of the trucks themselves. And again, I only met a couple of townships when they have issues like this do get called together. So we did not run the calculation on that.
Okay, yeah, I understand the tanker operations and I'm fine with that concept. I'm just trying to figure out how, or if we determine what the required flow was in order for it to make that system work.
Correct.
I guess the second question I have is then, have you assessed putting a 13D sprinkler system in, which would have just
Yes.
a tank along with the sprinkler piping?
Yes, we have, and we would consider that if we need to go to that extent, and we would put it at the high hazard areas and have a tank in the basement.
Well, when you say put it in high hazard, actually it would be throughout the house, right?
We could do that.
Yeah, okay.
13
Yeah, 'cause
hours.
usually 13 sprinkler systems are total packages, which
Right.
conclude the complete coverage of the house.
Mhm.
That's all the questions I have.
Mr. Jensen,
Yeah, I have no questions.
Mr. Limbeck.
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Holland. Do you know if the tanker truck from the local fire department, is that a first line attack truck or is it just a tanker? I mean, in that, does it carry hose and is it a pumper as well? Okay. Okay, and turn that on. And I look at, they talk about the first response pumper, and those don't carry 1,000 gallons. Typically, a pumper has 250 to 100 gallons. In the paperwork, they said that the responding pumper can meet the category. So there's a little bit of a disconnect here, whether it's the tanker that's responding first or is it the pumper that's responding first?
My understanding is the pumper's responding first, but they're both based out of Hillcrest Fire Department, approximately 3 miles.
And they're volunteers.
They are volunteers.
So my thought process is the guys are coming up, the first truck coming out is a pumper. And then the next, when they get a crew large enough, then the tanker's following it. So
Closely.
the bulk of the water is coming after the pumper.
That's correct.
Okay. That's the only question I have, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Mr. Pavich?
Yeah, I have one question. We don't, it's not being used as an option yet, but that existing pond, do we have any information on its size and capacity?
We have not, Jim speaking, we have not done the calculations on that. We started to look in this before and issues came to us about, what do we do during drought to prove there's water, guarantee water fullness, and I kind of stalled with that commentary. So the calculations have not been done, but even if we did run into this, further development of these other homes happen, I don't know that all of them would ever burn at one time. You have to take some calculated risk. We would propose that the pond's capacity be built to handle, a residential fire, if it needed indeed even to be enlarged or deepened.
Thank you. Mr. Holland, do you have any other questions for this applicant?
I don't have any questions, but based on that item 2 fire apparatus capabilities, again, these trucks are coming from Hillcrest, and then after that, to meet the required fire flow, they're going to be drawing from hydrants that are approximately 1.4 miles away. So to get the required fire flow for the required duration of 60 minutes, that's going to take some time till we get to that point. It's not going to be as soon as these first 2 vehicles arrive. Now we have to set up the relay. And my only issue with that is they talked about that being the equivalent. And I don't know that that's the equivalent. But that's for you folks.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anybody else that
Jim
wishes to speak on this matter?
Sorry, Jim
sorry?
speaking. I mean, we have reviewed this with Mr. Affalo for quite a while to say, that there's an element of, fire protection that you're going to deal with rural property like this. Our first concern with is like, get a building be safe. The second is trying to fight the fire structure as much as you can. knowing that the fire department has the ability to approach and fight a fire for some level of duration has been understood with him, and that's why we're proposing what we are proposing.
Okay. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on this matter? Okay, hearing none, the board will go again into deliberation to render a decision on the request for a variance, and we will let you know when we're ready with our decision.
Thank you.
Going off the record.
Okay, at this time, we're going to go back on the record in the matter of petition number 2024-0314, request for a variance. This petition pertains to the construction of a new one-family dwelling, 1-story in height, 3,650 square feet in gross floor area, located at 6134 Bunting Road in the town of Orchard Park, County of Erie, State of New York. Petitioner is appealing the determination of a code enforcement official regarding the applicability of 19 NYCRR Part 1225 Fire Code of New York State, Section 507.2, titled Type of Water Supply, which states that a water supply shall consist of reservoirs, pressure tanks, elevated tanks, water mains, or other fixed systems capable of providing the required fire flow. The exception to this provision states that in rural and suburban areas in which adequate and reliable water supply systems do not exist, the fire code official is authorized to approve the use of NFPA 1142. The site where the dwelling unit is located is not served by a municipal water supply, and the petitioner indicates that the local fire code official is requesting the installation of a pond and a dry hydrant for fire protection water supply. Findings of fact. Number 1, section 3.3.1 of NFPA 1142 defines alternative water supply as water supplies provided to meet the minimum fire flow duration requirements where no municipal type water system exists, or to supplement an inadequate municipal type water supply. Number 2, section 7.1.5 of NFPA 1142 states that in locations where adequate municipal type water supply systems are not provided and additional fire protection is needed, minimum water supplies shall be established in or transportable to the designated areas. Number 3, the petitioner indicates that the fire department is located 3.2 miles from the proposed dwelling and suggests that a tanker truck supplied and operated by the local volunteer fire department can meet the required fire flow and provide adequate response time. No information was provided to indicate the required fire flow and duration, nor the capacity of the local equipment or the history of average response time. Number 4, the local fire code official indicates that they are, scratch that. We're gonna leave number 4 out. With respect to petitioner's argument that section 104.3 of the fire code supports their proposal that the local fire department would supply the firefighting water source, the board finds that the local building official has already determined in writing that the stated criteria has not been met. Number 2, the petitioner indicates that construction of a pond and associated dry hydrant would create an excessive and unreasonable economic burden to the owner and would not achieve the intended objective of the code. The board finds that since no financial information was presented for the board's consideration, we are unable to consider economic burden as grounds for the granting of the requested variance. Number 3, petitioner indicates that the use of a mobile water supply apparatus meets 1142 NFPA 1142 standards and is recognized as a legitimate alternative for firefighting water supply and would achieve the intended objective of the code. The board finds that the determination of suitable alternative water supply for firefighting is specifically left to the discretion of the local fire code official who has determined that the method proposed by the petitioner is not an acceptable alternative in this instance. Number 4, the board finds that the granting of the requested variance would not substantially adversely affect the life, safety, or security of the subject premises. Wherefore is determined that the application for a variance from 19 NYC Part 1225 Fire Code of New York State, Section 507.2 would be unnecessary in light of alternatives with which without a loss in the level of safety would achieve the intended objective of the code, be and is hereby granted with the following conditions. Number 1, that a complete NFPA. Somebody speaking here?
This is Dan Farley from the state. Can you please mute your microphones, please?
Okay. The conditions under which the board is proposing to grant the requested variance are, number 1, that a complete NFPA 13D sprinkler system be installed throughout the premises, and number 2, that the driveway serving the residence be modified to a minimum width of 12 feet throughout its length. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve. John Limbeck.
Second?
Craig Jensen, I'll second the motion.
Wherefore, the record should indicate that this, well, let's finish up the vote. I'm sorry. Mr. Kavanaugh, can you hear me?
I can, and I vote aye.
By aye, okay. Mr. Pappage?
I vote aye.
And I will vote aye. So the record should indicate that this matter was approved by a vote of 5-0. Furthermore, the decision is limited to the specific building and application before it as contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. This matter is now closed. Off the record.